A couple of minutes later, Alicia let the cool air in when she opened the shower door and stepped inside. Like it? I love it. I can't wait to start planning the wedding. Oh, where would we go on our honeymoon? Part of me felt like shit. I proposed and had every intention of marrying her, but things were a little tricky at the moment. Alicia's mouth moved a mile a minute from her excitement. I wanted to bask in her happiness, but I couldn't because there was a high probability we would never make it down the aisle. I had no plans for my dreams of becoming a third-generation CEO to go up in smoke, and the likelihood of that happening became apparent the more I thought about what I'd done by proposing. Brew Boss was a brewery owned by my family in North Valley. With my father stepping down, I was in line to become CEO. It was a dream of mine, but something that felt unattainable. Before the transition, I needed to marry. However, the woman on my arm wasn't liked by those who held my dreams in their hands. In no uncertain terms would they let Alicia get her hands on family money. My family swore she was with me for the money and what I would soon acquire. Currently, I serve at the executive level. We even had a beer named after our family, Clarke Ale, and it was a big seller at the brewery and local liquor stores in the area. We were in the process of producing a Clarke wine, but hadn't quite figured out the formula. All I wanted to do was spend time with my girl and take Brew Boss to a higher level. Once in charge, I aimed to have Brew Boss in multiple states worldwide and make it a household name. My grandfather started Brew Boss in a small shed in the backyard of his home right before the Civil Rights Movement because there weren't any places like that for black people to go. Initially, people from the neighborhood would go to hang out. After a while, it attracted more people, and he purchased a building around the corner from his house. A couple of years later, he bought a bigger building and expanded. Initially, he named it Clarke Bar until I came along and we did some rebranding, changing the name to Brew Boss. With the help of our staff, we changed Brew Boss into the entity it is now. Once my grandfather retired, he passed it down to my father, who was currently in charge, but my G-Pop still sat on the board. If I were lucky enough to have children one day, I would pass it down to them. Our family was all about creating generational wealth. Being an only child to Oliver and Violet Clarke had its perks at times, but most of the time, I felt lonely. I guess my parents loved me, but they had a fucked up way of showing it. It was nothing for them to give me money and everything else I wanted, except for the love the way a parent should. I never really heard I love you or I'm proud of you from them. It was always, here's some money, or take this and go somewhere. When I was a child, they would take me on vacations with them, but even then, they still hardly paid me any attention. I was lonely most of the time. My favorite memories were with my grandfather. To this day, he is still my favorite person. Hey, where's your head at? Alicia asked me as she watched my back. I asked you a question and you were kind of zoned out. I'm sorry, baby. What did you say? I got so lost in my thoughts that I missed whatever Alicia was talking about. I said, where do you want to go on our honeymoon? I turned around to face her and to rinse the soap from my back. She gazed up at me with her deep brown eyes I'd fallen in love with from the first time I looked into them. Wherever you want to go, baby. I kissed the tip of her nose. Just like I figured she would, she reached down and gripped my flaccid manhood. When it hardened in her hand, she squatted and damn near swallowed it. Fuck, baby, I groaned and leaned against the shower wall. My knees grew weak at the tightness of her jaw. I let her do her thing for a minute before I picked her up and slammed her on my dick. It only took a few minutes of me fucking her against the shower wall before we came again. This time, we quickly washed up and got out. What are your plans for the day? I asked Alicia as she moved around our spacious bedroom. Not too much. I think I'm going to get my nails done. She looked down at her nails. Can't have this beautiful ass ring.